Divide numbers ending in zeros. Word problem. Dividing numbers that end in zeros in word problems often involves understanding how to handle these zeros and how they affect the division process. Let's delve into an explanation, break down an example, and address common questions that may arise. Explanation. When dividing numbers that end in zeros, it's important to recognize that these zeros do not affect the division process itself. Instead, they merely indicate the magnitude or scale of the numbers involved. Dividing by a number that ends in zeros essentially involves dividing the significant digits and then adjusting the quotient to account for the zeros at the end of the numbers. Breakdown example. Suppose you have 4,200 cookies that you want to divide equally among 35 students. How many cookies will each student receive? 1. Interpret the problem. We have 4,200 cookies that we want to distribute equally among 35 students. We need to find out how many cookies each student will receive. 2. Identify the numbers. Dividend, 4,200, total cookies. Divisor, 35, number of students. 3. Apply division. Divide the significant digits. 4,200 divided by 35 equals 120, approximately. Now, we need to adjust for the zeros at the end of the dividend. Since the divisor, 35, doesn't end in zeros, we don't need to adjust the quotient. Each student will receive approximately 120 cookies. Question answers. Q. What if both the dividend and divisor end in zeros? A. If both the dividend and divisor end in zeros, we can ignore these zeros during the division process. Divide the significant digits as usual, and the quotient will have the same number of zeros at the end as the total number of zeros in both the dividend and divisor. Q. How do we handle rounding when dividing numbers that end in zeros? A. When dividing numbers that end in zeros, we can round the quotient as needed based on the context of the problem. Typically, we round to the nearest whole number or decimal place depending on the precision required. Q. What if there are leftover cookies after dividing equally? A. If there are leftover cookies after dividing equally, it means that the total number of cookies is not evenly divisible by the number of students. In such cases, you can distribute the leftovers equally if possible or decide how to distribute them based on the situation.